Hey everyone, very exciting topic number 2 today with Matt. How you doing, Matt?
Doing great. Thanks, Mike.
Cool. So this is a topic you recommended, and I love it because it's about, hey, let's have two experts that look at their market every day, talk about what they're seeing. Right? It's now January. We've been through a pretty rough year, and I think people should hear what we're talking about. So when you look at your market, what are some of the metrics and some of the things that you're seeing right now that really catch your attention?
Yeah, no, great question. So one of the things that we always look at is, number of properties on the market.
Yep.
And typically I would say we have in the towns that are of interest to me, which is kind of, I'd say really two that I focus on. Right now, or typically you're going to have about 150 to 200 homes between single family, condo and multifamily, but multifamily being the, of the duplex, triplex, quad, a variety, not really any true multifamily, like high density stuff. So usually we're in that 150 to 200 range. As of Sunday night, we had 22 properties. 22.
Wow. In winter, like it snows there, right?
Yes. Oh yeah. Yep. We've got snow on the ground now. Yep. Yeah. So we have 22 properties, and here's the crazy breakdown. Because I like to break down into the numbers, right?
Yeah, of course.
So we've got 22 properties for sale. One of them is a home over $10 million.
Oh, doesn't fit your model, huh?
Right. Exactly. Not fitting my, rent model. The 3 homes over $1 million.
Wow.
So those are automatically kind of pushed to the side, discounted, right?
Now you're at 18.
Yep. And then there were, I think it was 6 or 7 kind of small apartment condo, like single bedroom type of stuff.
Yeah.
Single bedroom, 2-bedroom, but purely condo.
Right.
And also that stuff was also to be built, or to be finished in the next 30 days.
Okay.
So there were legitimately about 11 homes on the market as of Sunday night.
Wow. So do me a favor. How did that compare to like July?
July was in the hundreds.
Okay. So what happened between July and January?
I'm just going to guess a lot of purchases. I'm teasing. I mean,
but in reality, it's more than that. I think it's more than
that. Net. Well, it's net more purchases, right?
Exactly.
It's net more purchases. And so I think that there was a lot less being put on the market. I think that there was
a lot of, I still laugh, a lot of purchases, dumbass. Yeah. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate that.
But it's because I'm astonished. Like when I'm looking at the numbers, I'm mortified because I'm calling my broker and saying, literally, Jay, why don't you love me? Why don't you love me? Why can't you bring me a deal? And he's like, you think I'm not trying? I was like, I know you're trying, but try harder.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's kind of the crazy thing. That's the conversation that we're having, which is I literally, Mike, in the first time in my real estate career, I might have to lose an exchange.
Wow.
I might have to break an exchange. Not thrilled about that at all. Because I hate paying taxes to somebody or to the government that didn't do anything to earn anything in the process.
Yeah.
On a transaction. Just on a transaction. So I love paying my taxes, but not on a transaction that no one else had anything to do with. I created that money. But the problem is that the market is so not only inflated, but hyper hot. Like, imagine those numbers, like 22 homes, and we can wipe 11 of them off the slate immediately.
Yeah. In my crazy mind, I translate that to your 90% of normal, right?
Yes.
Right? If you're over 100, and now you're at, again, rounding to 10.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing that means prices are screaming higher.
Well, I can tell you the 11 that are on the market have either been on the market for less than a week.
Yeah.
Half of them have been on for less than a week, but the other half have unbelievably inflated prices. I mean, but here's the thing. Go to market, see what you can get. I get the deal maker mentality. Like try and see what you can get. And the other telling number is, as I look through it, one of the other things I look at is percentage to list price that's achieved.
Yeah.
So if you list it for $100,000 and you get $98,000, that's a 98%, to listing price achieved. The number for us in November that was just published was 100.6.
Wow. So 100.6.
That means that everything,
Is
I mean,
over.
if you
Yeah.
follow that, we're averaging over 100% of asking price.
Yeah, that's not normal.
Right. Well, and it also shows that, all due respect to some realtors, they're not the final authority. Like, that number's like, the market's the market.
Yeah.
The market's the market.
Yeah. And again, this is why I'm actually excited about 2021. Because again, if you just play this out, again, I don't know your market at all, but I know mine. If we are at 90% below normal inventory,
sure,
prices will very quickly shoot up double digits.
Yes.
Like very quickly.
Sure. Absolutely.
And the longer it stays, the more months that will compound, right? Because that's what happens to prices, is it compounds.
Yep.
And again, I have records of this. That happened to me in like 05, 06. Fresno went up like 20% one year, 21, and then went up like 31.
Yeah.
So again, if inventory doesn't go up, people are it's going to become very unaffordable very quickly.
Well, yeah, I think so. Let's talk, so I think that affordability is definitely going to be a thing. I know that we're going to cover that in kind of another segment, but just kind of finishing off the numbers, I had some other numbers jotted down here. In November, over the same time last year, sales were up 18.8%.
Oh, wait a second. So now you have inventory at record lows, but you have sales volumes up roughly 20%.
Yep. It's because it's getting eaten up that quickly. So you've got 18.8% sales up. Wow. Our median sales price for the entire state, not for my region, for the entire state, is median sales price is up 15.7% over November of last year. 15.7. We watch all these channels, right? And you talk about all these guys that say, well, you could do some Amazon drop shipping and you don't have to worry about getting your 3% on real estate.
Yeah.
I looked at the last 10 years. There was no year where it only appreciated 3%.
Yeah.
It was 4, 5, 7, 8, 4.5. It's all over the map, but the average isn't anywhere near 3%.
And oh, by the way, you can buy it at a discount in an efficient market. And yeah,
absolutely.
The other thing I saw in the numbers, get this one. So I think I put this out on my channel via one of the comments, or I guess I did a post on it. I think I did. The average home went up 17 grand across the country.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and in states. So the highest was actually Washington. California was second. Washington, I think by memory, was like 43 grand. California was 39. And let me just say, if you own like 30 homes and they went up 30 grand, that doesn't suck. Listen,
no,
I just want you all to know that's not a bad thing.
Those are good numbers.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing. And again, if you do what I talk about, just getting to 4.
Yeah.
Even if it's just 17 grand, that's, what is that? 17 times 4, $68,000.
Yeah.
In a year.
Yep.
And oh, by the way, you don't pay taxes on that. And oh, by the way, if you want, you can borrow on it and go get more. There's just, it doesn't suck, folks.
And you didn't do anything.
Yeah.
You did nothing. You went to bed at night. You woke up in the morning. That was about the requirement needed, for you to achieve that.
And again, I think the single family home, and I've actually have videos on this. I believe the single family home would be the best investment for the next decade, because I see the trend coming. It's what we just talked about in video number 1, or this one. There's lower inventory, builders can't build, inflation's coming, stimulus is coming, infrastructure plan. Holy shit. Prices are going up. Yeah. And you better own soon.
It's not, well, and that's the other thing too, is that, we talk about, some of the other numbers that I've looked at is sales volume dollar wise.
Oh yeah.
So this is an interesting number over the last year, November to November. And so what we had was, like we talked about before, migration. Yep. We had a lot of Massachusetts coming up. We had a lot of even Connecticut, Rhode Island. We had a lot of that coming into New Hampshire because of our tax-free, no income tax and no state sales tax, which is really attractive to a lot of folks for obvious reasons, low tax. And so what was really interesting was the volume dollar-wise, this November over last November was 43.9% dollar volume. Yep. Wow. So the amount of deals that added up in 19 of November and the number of deals that added up in November of 2020, it was 43.9% more.
Wow. I mean, do you see anything that slows this down? I mean, let's just call it New Hampshire 15% in 2020. Why would that slow down in 21?
I think the only thing that can slow it down is like we talked about in the previous video, which is rate. I think can change it. I think, if jobs get horrifically worse.
But let's poke that a little bit, because I think if jobs get historically or bad, I think there'll be regions of the country that do good. And I think New Hampshire, like you just talked about, given the tax structures, it's going to weather it the best. And frankly, some will lose, some will gain. I think if the employment picture gets bad, New Hampshire wins, frankly.
I think so. I think that there's other areas that are hurt. So the national number gets hit.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think our state doesn't necessarily, because I still think that there's going to continue to be a mass exodus from Massachusetts into New Hampshire.
Oh, for sure.
We're seeing that all the time. In fact, I was talking to my broker and he said over half of the homes that he sells are out of state buyers.
Well, that's what Brian is telling us about Vegas, right?
Yeah.
It's the same deal, right? Yeah,
exactly.
That is. Yeah, I just don't know how. I don't know how New Hampshire doesn't have a 15% increase again.
Yeah. Well, we're seeing stuff that we're literally looking at and saying, remember 3 years ago, this project that we did, like that was a flip. And we say that house we bought for, 180 and we put 40 into it and sold it for, 250, 260. Now that house is 335. And this is over like a 3-year span. I mean, good for them. I got
of course
out of the deal. Good for them. They got a bunch of equity in their home and they didn't do anything. They made a good investment, Well,
let's play this out. Let's think about that 335 house now. I mean, it could be 400 by the end of 2022.
It could be. Well, what we're starting to see now though, and this is, I'm glad you brought that up, which is you're starting to see in times like this where existing supply continues to dwindle, builders can't build fast enough. There's actually more value in buying brand new because you won't have all the maintenance that you will with an older home. But what we're starting to see now, and I think this is happening countrywide, is that there's compression between the two, which is the existing home versus the new home.
Yes.
And so the new home used to sell at a premium. It was, 350 and your existing home was selling for 300.
Correct.
Well, now those numbers are a whole lot closer. Now the new home is selling for 400, but the existing home is selling for 365 or 370. Then you're looking at it and saying, well, what should I do? Well, if I can wait out where I am, I should be buying a new home, waiting for that build to be finished and moving in there. And then cost wise, I'm deferring all the maintenance that would normally need to happen in an older home that I'm going to be purchasing.
Yeah. And that's kind of my thesis, is why I think inventory shows up April and May. And that's just one of them. I believe the beauty of a move up buyer, which I believe was lacking in 2020, is it's two transactions.
Yep. Agreed.
And that's what we need. We need that move up buyer, right? We need that person who bought in 2010 to go, oh my God, I have 50% equity.
Yeah.
Let's go spend it. Right. That's what we need to have happen.
Well, let's go spend it. Or even, I mean, you and I are to a certain degree contrarian. And so I would, I'm telling people that, hey, listen, you've got all this equity in your home. I think that there's going to be a lot more inventory in a year than there is right now.
Yeah.
More inventory, and some of it being distressed inventory.
Yep.
That one purchase could propel you for years.
Absolutely.
If you have the stomach to sell your home, move into an apartment. I had a business colleague of mine that just did it. He absolutely hit a grand slam. The price of his house in a 5-year period almost doubled. He had to put work into it, but the house almost doubled. He rented for the last year, and now he's able to buy something, with basically with the largest down payment he's ever going to have. He's got a ton of money sitting in the bank. He did the hard work, right? He did the work in the house. He sold the house. He then moved his family into an apartment, and now he's buying a house, 10 months later, 11 months later, but he found the right deal because he was shopping for the right deal, found a fixer upper, was month to month on his rent, told them, I'm only want to do month to month because it's all about when I can find that next deal.
Right.
Found the next deal. He'll do the work, and there you go. Then that's going to be a massive return on his capital.
Yeah. Again, doing the work is key to the channel all the time. Right. And again, if you're going to do the owner, I'm guessing he lived in his first one for at least 2 years. So he got $250K tax free.
That's right.
Oh, look at that. It's a genius guy.
Right. Yeah, I know. He looks like Warren Buffett.
Yes. And oh, by the way, he could do that 5 times a decade.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And it's like and that's why you always do the work, right?
Yeah.
You always do the work. You always understand where your market is. You always just look and see what's going on. I mean, 15, 20 minutes a day, you're investing in yourself, and it's probably the best return on time you're ever going to get.
Yeah. And people need to hear this. You know, I did an interview Sunday with one of my students. I only ask for 10 to 20 minutes a day.
Yep.
If you come, I mean, people always fight me on this. Oh, I'll give you 4 hours on Saturday. I'm like, no, I didn't ask for that. I want 10 to 20 minutes a day, 7 days a week. If you want to take Sunday off, because even God took Sunday off, so be it. But that's it. That's the only exception.
Right.
Yeah, do the work. So, man, this has been a lot of fun. I can't wait for topic number 3.
Sounds great.
Thanks.